Wreck My Podcast. Wreck My Podcast.
Hello, listeners. Would you like to play a nice game of chess?
I'm not sure if that was really good or really bad.
I don't know. That's my intro.
I'll give you that was good.
Into it. So you guys know we're here today to talk about the Gillette commercials and toxic masculinity, right?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I brought my grill.
No, actually.
Could you imagine if like women had to watch a commercial that told them they weren't good enough? Could you imagine?
Wow, yeah. I wonder.
Fair.
Yeah, I wonder what it would feel like if they were paid less too.
Yeah.
And yeah, I don't know. So we're not actually here to talk about that. We're here to talk about WarGames, a movie from the 80s when none of this mattered. People were not politically correct at all back then.
No.
This is a movie that has Ali Sheedy in it and Matthew Broderick. Broderick.
Oh, I totally forgot. I was listening to iHeartRadio and there was a commercial for like this one podcast about like people who are wrongfully convicted, and the dude who does it, his name is Jason Flom.
Oh, no way. Call back.
Listen to last week's episode.
Flom. I love that.
Oh,
That's
no.
so good. Well, anyway, I'm here. I got a wrongful conviction with Jason Flom. That's amazing.
I heard it. I'm all like, it's even pronounced
So maybe
the same way.
subconsciously I saw that ad and that's why I went Flom. So I'm here with my guests. He was the first person to suggest the idea of reproduction without sex. We have Cam.
That's true. It is, yeah.
He wishes he had time to learn swimming as well. We have Kreger.
Come on.
And I once pissed on a spark plug because I thought it would do some good. I'm your host, Jordan. So if you guys don't watch these videos, we're in a new area. We move around a lot, but I'm hoping this is going to be our new stationary area. We're in my work. We're in my work. You can see our nice little logo here on this TV screen. You could see some Star Wars posters behind my shoulder back over here. And yeah, it's just the three of us today. Normally we have a lot of people, but we're going to be a little bit more intimate in this one.
I'm always down to get a little bit more intimate.
Intimacy is great.
Yeah,
so we're talking about WarGames,
Your
which
mom knows.
WarGames has no spaces between it. It's WarGames.
WarGames.
That's the title of the movie.
Yeah.
It's streaming for free on Vudu right now. So if you guys haven't seen it or want to revisit it with us, go to Vudu. Just make an account. You can watch it for free. There's some ads in there, but whatever. And so, guys, what did you think? Kreger, you said you've seen it more recently for your first time.
Yeah.
Cam, this was your ultimate first time. And this was me revisiting it after about 8 years of not seeing it.
My first impression was that this was the weirdest prequel to Warhorse ever.
So they couldn't trust humans. They couldn't trust machines. What's the next logical step?
Horse.
By the way, don't look up Warhorse on other websites.
If you go to Pornhub and look up Warhorse, it's very, very different.
I mean, it's this weird little costume. I don't know.
So what did you think, Kreger, since you've seen it more recently and you watched it a second time? Like, what were you thinking about it?
The first time, I don't know. I just like enjoyed it for a movie, and like I was like, oh, it's like for what it was really good. You know, Matthew Broderick's really good, and the actress, I can't remember.
Ali Sheedy.
Ali Sheedy. I saw her in something old recently before that.
Breakfast Club?
That
Short
is it.
Circuit, maybe? Yeah.
Well, yeah.
She was in a bunch of those
Saint Elmo's
80s
Fire?
films. Yeah. Yeah, she was in a lot of... and she was in one other, Seventh Heaven, maybe, or something like. No.
that was a
what was
TV
the other
show
one?
that she was in.
Touched by an Angel. Was that one? No.
No.
What was the one back in like the 70s, late 70s? There was another one beside.
It was Touched by a Catholic.
Was it Saint Elsewhere? As well? Yeah, that's what it was. Okay, that's what it was.
Anyway, so I was like, oh, that's cool. You know, like, so the first time I watched it, I like enjoyed it. I'm like, oh, this is a good movie. You know, it was like for what's time, it was good. And like, I enjoyed the premise, and then I watch it again and I'm just like picking apart every little thing. I'm like, this is so dumb. Why are they doing this? They would never do that. Like, so I don't know. It kind of wrecked it for me.
I thought the same thing because I remember watching it the first time and I must have been like hungover and had nothing better to do or something. But I remember enjoying it and I watched it this time and I was like, not having it.
No.
I mean, how many 80s movies and 70s movies do we need of people just typing into a computer? And hey, you have to read what they're typing.
Well, fun fact, this is the first time that the internet has been portrayed on screen.
Wow.
Yeah. So, and they were actually very specific when they were writing, the two writers, about making sure that everything was accurate for hacking at the time.
Okay.
Yeah, which it doesn't look like it's accurate at all, but I guess all those machines are actually what you would have had to use to be able to hack at the time.
Which I was thinking, like, government must be watching. It's like, do we have any back doors?
No, seriously though, Reagan actually was like super into this movie, and we'll get into the fun facts later about how this created a bill that they passed because of this movie.
The Star Wars bill?
No, not that one. That was a different movie Reagan watched.
What is that new one? Space
Force.
Space Force. I'm so excited.
Yeah. So let me tell you some problems I had with this movie. Did I get to you, Cam? Did I skip you? Did I skip right over you?
I just made a Warhorse joke.
Oh yeah. What did you think?
I thought that it was fun. Like Krager said, that Matthew Broderick and Ali Sheedy were fun to watch. Super charismatic.
Did you think Matthew Broderick's voice was weird in this movie?
I just thought he was younger. That's
it sounded off to me, and I guess it's because it's one of the first movies he did, and he's a lot younger.
You only think of him as having the Ferris Bueller voice.
100%.
This voice, it was a little bit higher pitch. He was a little bit more awkward, which is fine, but he still had all the same mannerisms, like everything. He was still good. But
yeah,
I think
it didn't really bug me at all.
No.
What are you doing?
Dialing into the school's computer. They change the password every couple of weeks, but I know where they write it down.
Are those your grades?
Yeah. I don't think that I deserved an F. Do you?
You can't do that.
Already done.
I think this film would have been really cool when it came out because like, computer porn was such a thing.
Oh yeah.
But I watched it and I was just like, I can't believe that he just saved the world by playing tic-tac-toe.
It's so true though.
It's just bad.
yeah. There's a lot. We'll get into the inconsistencies. There's a lot to pick apart in this movie, but I think the things I had the most problems with is one, the movie is way too freaking long. Like, way
too long.
Like it's almost 2 hours long. They should have cut this down to 125 or something.
And it feels like 3.
Oh yeah. It was. It got to a point where I'm like, are they? And there's a lot of scenes they filmed that loop and have served no purpose. Where I'm like, we could have cut easily 20 to 30 minutes of just pointless scenes that didn't further the plot at all. Not to mention there's tons of plot holes. It just seems too easy to hack, and there's like no one trying to stop him. Like, I just don't believe that this high school kid who kind of seems like a dropout, like not really into anything, like he could just hack in, and he makes like, I don't know. It just seemed too much.
There's such a discrepancy between being able to change your grade on like a school
and hacking into the military.
Yeah.
And also, like he turned into MacGyver. Like, oh, I'm just gonna secret agent break out of this.
Oh,
I totally wrote that down. I wrote he went MacGyver on it at that point.
And then when he does the whole phone thing, like, oh, I'm just gonna go out and find a little like soda can top, and then I'm gonna
how perfect
hack the phone.
Also, I'm like, how does he act so calm while being held by the military?
Yeah,
like he seems just so cool and collected. I'm like, that would not. You would be freaking out, sir. And why would they bring him into the war room to begin with if they thought he was a Soviet spy?
Right.
And how can he think so fast under pressure?
It's like, here, sir, we know we're detaining you for hacking, but let us leave you alone with a very important computer in a room.
Yeah.
Like the main headquarters. Like that.
And then, like, when he started going on it and stuff, like, she just runs and takes her sweet time and everything. Like, everything just seemed convenient.
And
also,
then, like, Principal Rooney showed up and he stepped in poop or mud or whatever, and it was just so
I think you mixed two movies together.
Oh, okay. So, but do you remember when Ali Sheedy, like, put all of the Captain Crunch on the sandwich and then smashed it and then took a bite?
Is that another movie that was not this movie? Although I gotta say, she's very limber. There was that scene where she's like in the split, and I'm like, damn, she's limber.
What did I write down?
She's like super athletic.
Yeah.
I said, where is it? Damn, girl, you flexible.
That's a real life note that Krager took.
Yes.
It's written right there.
Hey,
I see it.
Mine aren't that much better.
Damn, girl,
my question, my
flexible.
biggest problem with this too is the whole point of this movie is that they can't trust humans to be infallible.
Yeah.
So they put a computer in, and they just put this computer in and implemented. Never have done this before.
Yeah.
And then when things start acting strange and out of place, they don't question at all that maybe it's the computer doing it.
Also, clearly, no test runs. It's like, you got it, dude. You don't need to be tested. We trust you no matter what.
What's the robot's name? Joshua?
Well, yeah, Joshua or Whopper. It was like going back and forth.
Yeah, so Joshua was like the password to get into the actual
It was the
game,
back
right?
door.
Was
Yeah.
the back door was the password Joshua.
Yeah.
Backdoor Joshua was my nickname in high school.
Backdoor Joshua 3.
Yeah.
Codename Whopper.
Yeah, and I remember when he was like, "What are you doing, Joshua?" Like that happened in my room, and I was like, "Ugh."
It sounded too much. Was that John Wood that said the Falcon that said
Yeah,
that or
Falcon.
something? Yeah, it was too much. And also, I'm like, there has to be more safeguards in place than just the war room screens. Like they're looking at these screens, and their people out in the field are saying, "Nope, there's nothing out here," and they're like,
don't see anything.
"Impossible.
Oh,
this
did you see it on the screen?
the screen could not be telling me anything wrong right now." Like it's just too much.
And then, like, inconvenient, they throw a little article out there. Oh, the Soviets say they have a stealth plane that cannot mimic its
Fake news.
like 600 miles
It could,
away.
throw their radar away. Like ventriloquist for radars.
I do have to say, props to Mr. Strickland. Back in the 80s, he was simply working at a school. Now he's high up in the military. That was pretty impressive.
Wait, Mr. Strickland, who's that?
Back to the Future, the bald guy.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, you're right. I missed that one.
Also,
I totally
also
missed that
different
one.
movie.
Yeah, man. There's a lot of different movies coming up in
Yeah.
this WarGames podcast.
I felt like I watched 7 movies when I watched it.
So would you guys give it a thumbs up or a thumbs down?
I give it a thumbs in the middle.
In the middle.
Like
thumbs,
one of
thumbs right in the belly button.
Yeah.
We are the bar.
quick poll with all the men in the room right here, which is the other 2 of you.
Who?
Yeah, just you 2. If you get poked in the belly button, does it feel like a bolt of electricity hits you in the penis?
No.
Yeah, me neither.
So you want to know? You want to know something? This is factual. Yeah, Krager's now
Can I
covering.
poke you in the belly button? You need to know. You
He
need
punched
to know.
your taco. You might as well let him
Punch your
poke you
belly
in the belly
button.
button.
Ready? You ready?
I'm scared.
Just let me do it.
I do it to Jordan.
No.
It's gonna hurt. I don't
It
want
doesn't hurt.
electricity.
It doesn't hurt. It's not like you get shocked. You just feel like a nerve pulse. Like,
Here,
all
I'm
the way to your
gonna
penis.
gloss over this really.
Do it to yourself.
I don't want to.
Do it
I'm going
right
to
now.
gloss over this really awkward scenario here
Yeah.
and tell you something even more awkward. So one time I'm hanging out with my brother who's like 8 years younger than me, and we're sitting there, and I call him the fountain of useless information because he knows the most pointless things. He goes, we're not even talking about anything. He just turns to me and goes, "Did you know that if you poke someone in the belly button for 10 seconds, it's considered rape?" I was like,
I thought that's where you're going because I've heard that.
I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, if it's longer than 10 seconds and it's non-consensual, it's considered rape."
Not just molestation.
Nope, rape.
Wow.
Yeah. So I was like, "Okay."
That's the most I've heard the word rape in 4 seconds.
Yeah. Should we go for the?
No, we're not going for the record.
No record. Okay.
Krager, just poke yourself in the belly button. Be a man.
I did it.
Here's
Did it
my
happen?
question.
It was weird.
He does have a boner going on right now.
It was more in the pelvic region.
Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Here's a question for you guys. Would you think this movie would have been better if we had some nostalgic sprinkled on it? Like if we were alive in '83 when this came out, do you think it
92.
would have been better? What do you mean?
Didn't it come out in 90?
83.
83.
Yeah, 1983.
I swear it's
No.
I did.
Scratch that.
I think a little bit because I feel like if I was born maybe 5 years before we were in '89, like I probably would have been in like the AV club in the
Yeah.
90s. I probably would have been really into computer stuff. And this movie would have been like, oh, this movie got me super into computers. Whereas instead, I grew up watching like Ferris Bueller, and I grew up watching the other stuff, like the other weird sci-fi, like Back to the Future. And
I'm pretty sure Cam never watched VeggieTales.
no, I did.
Oh, you did?
Did you guys know that I was the youth leader of my church when I was in high school?
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then I woke
And
up.
now you're an atheist.
and then I was like, yeah, this isn't real.
That's crazy. That's
These
crazy.
vegetables don't know anything.
Yeah, you realize the lie about the vegetables.
Yeah, and they tell them the
Vegetables
tomato was a
can't
fruit.
talk.
So how about that?
That's true. Yeah, Fruit Tales. Fruit Tales was a whole different connotation, though. So let's move in.
I watched
to
Fruit Tales.
Fruit Tales. Let's talk about this movie a little bit. So June 3rd, 1983 is when it came out. Ferris Bueller came out in 1986, so 3 years later, and Breakfast Club with Ali Sheedy came out in 1985, so 2 years later. So all their stuff that they're most known for was after this. It had a $12 million budget. It grossed $79.5 million.
Really?
With 6.2 opening weekend.
Wow.
Yeah, so it made a lot of money. It was the fifth highest grossing film of that year. It was nominated for 3 Academy Awards.
Shouldn't have been.
Original screenplay, cinematography, and sound.
Cinematography?
Yeah, no.
What? Just
cinematography was so bad.
Oh, I'm getting heated.
Yeah.
I'm going to back away from the
You
mic
had to
so
back
you
away
know,
from
yeah.
that mic, yeah.
What is cinematography for it about sitting in a goddamn room with just a tripod?
Nothing.
Like, there is nothing.
Nothing. So yeah, they didn't win, obviously. It came out the same year as Return of the Jedi, Scarface, Risky Business, Vacation, A Christmas Story, and of course everyone's favorite, Psycho 2.
Oh yeah, Psycho 2's great.
Yeah, I've never seen
Classic.
that one.
You
That's
shouldn't.
definitely a film for this podcast.
Yeah, we got to watch that.
100%. Rotten Tomatoes, 93% from 41 critics.
What?
That's so high.
Too high.
So high.
This
But
shows-
76 audience score.
That's more
That
fair.
shows you why Rotten Tomatoes is broken.
Well, it's because it was innovative for its time. No one had done a movie about the internet. No one had done a movie with this type of the screens and everything. Like, they
Yeah.
literally had, I forget which company, but one of the big, like Sony or whatever would be now, the
Right.
big company come in and they had to make this thing that had never been made. Like, the amount of work that went into this movie was insane, which is why it had such high accolades.
Right. I don't argue that. I think that the visuals on the screens were pretty cool for the time. I was like,
Yeah.
yeah, this is a really cool.
But there was nothing
sequence.
innovative to me about it outside of the sets.
When the movie started and he was like playing Galaga and he was playing a game like on a computer, like on the
Arcade game, yeah.
and then he goes home and like he's a hacker. I was like, oh man, he's just gonna win at the end. I was
Yeah.
like, there was no story. Like,
Well,
it was
did you know that the I think it's MGM that did this? They sent him to arcade cabinets to his house, Matthew
Just so he could
Broderick,
be good at it?
Galaga, and I forget what the other one, just so he could practice for a few months to be good at it. Where I'm like, first off, there was not really a shot that had to prove he was good
no,
at this
he had
game.
he had
at
the two
all.
rockets and he was just going.
Yeah, he could have
And then
easily
he
done
gave
whatever.
it to like a little kid who I
Yeah.
thought it was going to be so much more important because they spent so much time on
and
his
that
face.
kid looked familiar to me. I thought that he was from something else, but I didn't. I was lazy and didn't look into it.
I highly doubt it.
Yeah, so the director was John Badham. Saturday Night Fever, Short Circuit is what he was known for back then. Now he does a bunch of TV episodes. He did The Shield, he did Heroes, he did some Psych, he did 12 Monkeys, Arrow, Constantine. He's done a lot of like TV superhero type stuff now, sci-fi stuff. One of the writers, Lawrence Laker, produced another Matthew Broderick movie in 1987 called Project X. Never heard of this film. You want to hear the synopsis of it?
It's not. Wait, when did it come out?
1987.
No.
It says, an Air Force pilot joins a top-secret military experiment involving chimps, but begins to suspect there might be something more than the mysterious Project
there might be
X.
some
Super
monkey,
chimps.
There might be
Yeah.
some monkey business up in here.
So I was actually kind of curious. I wrote this one down now that we have to check this
Yeah,
movie
absolutely.
out.
I'm
for
down to
this
watch monkey
podcast.
movies.
So let's talk about some of the actors here. Dabney Coleman was McKittrick, the guy who was kind of the computer guy, but not the computer guy that built the computer. The one who kept saying we got to use it. He's the guy. Fans of the podcast may know him as the voice of Principal Prickly on Recess.
Wait, so you're talking about like
Nice.
the balding, dark-haired guy?
No, the guy with the mustache.
Oh, okay.
That guy. And that's how I say mustache.
Mustache.
They made his Recess character look just like him.
Yeah, he
Wow.
did. Yeah,
Yeah,
the
it
Recess
does look
character
just
looked just
like
like him. But he's in a ton of stuff.
Right.
Like, he's a huge actor. John Wood was Falcon. He's the guy who made the computer.
Yep.
Ali Sheedy, as we talked about.
Falcon.
Did you guys know? I totally forgot. Yeah, Falcon. Did you guys know that? Well, his character, so his name is Stephen Falcon, and he's based off of Stephen Hawking.
Oh.
So it's kind of a little on the nose there. They were even going to put him in a wheelchair for the movie and decided not to.
That's so
They
bad.
first asked Stephen Hawking to play it, and then he said no, and then they wanted John Lennon to play it, and that didn't happen.
And why didn't it happen?
I didn't read. All this website just say it didn't happen. It didn't give much description into
I
it.
think they did a wheelchair because there's just too many stairs.
That war room would not have been
It's just
handicap
all
accessible
ramps.
at all. That would have
Well,
been
look,
bad.
half his scenes are on stairs.
That's true, actually.
That's true.
Did you guys know Ali Sheedy? Do you know her personally? Do you guys know her personally?
Yeah, she's my wife.
A slut.
Well, don't say that about
Yeah,
my wife.
don't say that. Did you guys know she did a quick cameo in the latest X-Men movie?
Really?
Yeah, she was
Yes.
young Scott Summers' teacher. I did not
Because
catch that at all.
Yeah, I noticed that.
Yeah, and she was in Home Alone 2, had a cameo in that as well, which I don't
haven't
remember
seen it
either.
recently.
Yeah, those things blew me out of the water. Didn't know. Barry Corbin plays the General Behringer, the main general guy. Do you know what we know him from?
He looks like an engine.
He plays Dale on the Ranch.
Tell me this is one of your simulations, Mr. McKittrick. All right. Flush the bombers, get the subs in launch mode. We are at DEFCON 1. You know, your gate's busted. Colt did it. You also clipped your mailbox on the way in.
Oh! Yeah, I knew that was going to blow your mind.
What was crazy about that was how much tobacco that man used.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
It wasn't even good tobacco.
What would, I mean,
how do you know it was not good tobacco?
Because I've seen it before. Because my buddy, like, some
like the ones that come out of the Ziploc pouches.
No, some of my friends like have tobacco, and like they have me. They're like, "Oh, try it." I'm like, "No, I know myself. I'll just swallow it and throw up."
He was chewing Red Man. That's the most delicious tasting natural tobacco you can have. Take it from a guy that used nicotine.
Take it from a guy.
Okay. Take it from a guy.
Take it from a guy, Krager.
It's really juicy. That's what baseball players use.
Hey, this isn't the
Hey kids.
Wreck my tobacco.
Yeah, that's what I say.
Hey kids, it's not delicious. It's gross and it's bad.
This is not the tobacco podcast, so let's move on.
Wacky tobacco.
I like wacky tobacco.
So you guys want a short description for a long movie right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
This is how I would describe this movie. In a seemingly alternate universe where everyone is ignorant of technology except for one kid, he decides to do global battle with a computer as all our lives hang in the balance.
Yeah, I think that's a really good one.
A short description.
Yeah, that was a nice little log
movie.
line.
I like it.
So let's talk about the plot now. This is where we get to get into what's wrong.
I wanted to bring
with
up when you're talking about actors. So the balding other guy who's helping with the computer stuff, you know, like with the glasses he runs in, Fat Paul Giamatti.
He does look like a Fat Paul Giamatti. Yeah. I like him because his character was pretty much like all they were is like, you just pretty much go, I don't know what's going on.
Yeah, that was it.
We tried that, I don't know. That's pretty much what his character did the whole time.
Broderick goes to the hackers and there was that one like...
Oh my God. I wrote that note in here that I'm like stereotypical like geeky computer people from the 80s. Like,
well, you're not going to be able to do it.
I haven't showered in 8 weeks. There's a girl here. Oh, that's going to scare me.
It's so bad. It's so bad.
I wrote young Jordan / every cartoon geek ever.
Young Jordan. Oh, thanks, Gregory.
Wow, where'd you get this?
I was trying to break into Protovision. I wanted to see the program for their new games.
Hey, wait, Tim, I'm not through yet.
What are you talking about?
No, but like, I'm convinced he does every voice acting for every geek in every cartoon.
Probably. Oh, I'm sure he probably does.
That voice is so distinct.
Yeah.
I've never heard a nerd actually sound like that.
Me
they
neither.
mostly just sound like us.
No, I've never heard a nerd what they sound like because they're normally introverts and they don't talk to you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so let's start off. We start this movie off with some like government thing, and I don't remember this movie starting off with like the government nuclear facility or whatever. Right. But did you guys notice that sign when they walk in? It says, "Anyone urinating in this area will be discharged." Next to the door to get into like the control room. Oh my God, I was dying. I was dying.
It bugged me right off the get go. I'm like, I love the idea of this little house is like the entrance, but then like they don't even immediately go downstairs like a big cement wall. It's like, what is this house connected to that it's hiding?
Yeah, it just reminded me of like what the Men in Black would have or something.
Yeah.
Like not a realistic government facility at all.
But if it's just like you have a little tiny quaint house, perfect, huge cement wall. Okay.
Yeah, right behind it. Like, so what's that silo over there? Don't worry about it, Bob.
Yeah, don't worry about it. That's just my It's my backyard. That's my shed.
Don't worry, babe. That's my roommate's silo.
So they order a nuclear order pretty much to these guys, but they don't know it's a test, and they fail this test. So this is where we learn that humans in charge of launching nukes is failing. And this is the catalyst for implementing a computer which won't hesitate.
Which
that's pretty much
that guy pulled out his gun way too silently and quickly.
Yeah, he was like, "Turn the key, Bill."
Wait, what?
I'm gonna get "Turn the Key, Bill" tattooed on my lower.
Yes. Oh,
and
please
just
do.
a picture of Jordan like
pointing, portrait.
"Turn the key, Bill." And if you could have tattoos that actually were like you pull a string.
I cannot wait till we get the technology for gift tattoos. Oh my God.
Gift tattoos where they just move.
It's just no technology. It's impossible.
No, the skin isn't changing, Krager.
If you can dream it, you can do it.
Okay.
If we build it, they will come. So do you guys love? Yeah, that's a different movie too. Do you guys love the red pixel font in the credits?
Yes, loved it.
So
loved
good,
it.
so good. I love that. So we're introduced to Whopper, War Operation Plan Response. I see you, subliminal Burger King product
Burger King
placement.
probably paid so much for
Whopper. Yeah. So jump in here, Craig, if you have any notes on it.
Honestly, now that we're talking, I'm like, my notes are really dumb. I'm just like, he pulled out the gun really quick. I'm like, when they're going through that big ass door, people are squeezing in and out. I'm like,
I know
that will crush you. And you're
that
like,
nonchalantly,
I would
if it even started to close. I'd be like, no, I'm good.
Which I never thought, like,
I'll wait for the next cycle.
Jordan would be like 20 feet away from me, like, I'll wait.
Yeah, it's how I feel like when I watch The Office and there's that scene where Pam and Dwight get stuck in the elevator, right? And I've never connected more with Pam ever in that show than when he's like, oh, come on up, get out. She's like, don't want to get cut in half, and there's pee on the floor. I'm like, that's exactly what I would do. I'd be like, no, don't want to get cut in half, and I'm sure there's pee on the floor.
I strongly believe if it can happen, it will happen to me. That's like
isn't that what Murphy's Law is?
Yeah.
But it's a little bit more. But it's a little more like
it's Krager's Law because it happens to
Krager.
Krager.
It's more like narcissistic or whatever the term is, I guess. I don't know, but I'm like, I'm convinced like it's probably gonna happen to me. So it's like it's why like I guess that's why my fear of like roller coasters have always like come.
Because you think it's gonna be like a Final Destination moment for you.
Mine's probably gonna be like the one harness that fails.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I feel you. The door definitely like got me.
Yeah. So I didn't like that door either. It was giving me anxiety. They say war games a bunch at the beginning of this movie.
Way too many
Yeah,
times.
they're like, this computer can make war games. Oh, you want to do some war games? Hey, have you heard about that new movie, War Games? That's meta.
Did you see the guys? Did you guys see the guys in the backyard? The backyard. I'm not even gonna finish my joke. Continue.
Okay, so we meet the computer. And that's that. Now we meet Ferris. I mean, David. He's playing Galaga.
I can't tell if you meant to do that
So
on purpose.
I did. I wrote it down.
that was a good
Literally.
joke.
Now
Yeah,
we
it was
meet
a-
Ferris. Ellipsis. I mean David. Ellipsis playing Galaga. So he must know a lot about technology because he's a gamer.
Yeah, he plays Galaga.
That's what every 80s movie tells you. If they're good at arcade games, they're probably a hacker.
I could totally
Jennifer
hack.
is introduced in class. She's kind of the girlfriend. They never really established that, I think.
Like a girl next door type.
Yeah, like
By the way,
cool.
her friend was fugly.
I don't even remember her friend. I wasn't paying attention.
I was so intoxicated by her. I was just like, I forgot how much I love her.
Which is funny because Ali Sheedy, like, she bugs me.
She's pretty sheedy.
She's pretty.
But you said she was too
I said
spastic.
She's like a 2-year-old ADD, like with ADD. Like I could. She's way too spastic for me.
Oh, I love her.
I could not handle it.
By the way, that teacher was cold-blooded.
Oh yeah,
he was.
Which can we talk about the logistics of this? So Jennifer's already in class. David comes in late. He goes, oh, thanks for coming in late, David. Here's your test that's an F. Means that the rest of the class has their test. Then when Jennifer pipes up, he goes, what are you piping up about? Here's your test with an F. And I'm like, wait, so you held on to her test after you... Like, so you're just holding on to F so you can hand them out whenever you want to, like, backhand someone?
That's what I do when you walk into my class. Yes, you say teacher, you're gauging my thing.
Yeah.
When kids walk into my class, I'm like, what up, loser? And then I hand them an F. No, it's like, if you give someone an F, you just keep it secret because it's so, you don't want to shame the kid.
So I think he's the real antagonist of the story, was that teacher. Yeah. So Matthew Broderick, like I said, has I cannot say Broderick. There we go, Broderick. He has such a weird voice in this movie that it was kind of bugging me. Now, they get to his house. Every time they get to the house, the dog's just chilling outside.
Yeah,
no
Bo.
gate. Just hanging out in the front yard.
My favorite part was when Ali Sheedy was playing with the dog after she went on her run.
Yeah, which was great. But I'm like, why is this dog just always chilling out front? Like, why don't you let him go in the backyard or something?
Because it was the 80s.
That's
and they're
true.
in Seattle.
That's true.
Yeah, and that dog was cute and loyal.
It was way too sunny to be Seattle.
No, because it was filmed in Los Angeles where that house was. That's
okay.
why.
Okay.
So I just wrote one note here when they go up to his room, giant floppy.
I wrote down chivalry is unappreciated.
What was the chivalry about
He
it?
was changing her grade, and she's like, no.
Oh yeah, and then she changed her mind later, like a typical
What?
woman. Come at me, Gillette.
She is a tease. She is totally a tease.
So here's my next line I put here. When they have the dinner scene, David's dad is putting too much butter on that freaking bread.
Way too much butter.
No, I said
So much butter.
his dad changed the way you should put butter. I can't
Put butter on your corn.
I'm like that. What's funny is like the first time I saw that movie, I'm like, that is amazing, and then I forgot and I saw it again. I'm like, this is
Dude,
still amazing.
When he was lapping that butter on there,
Yeah.
it was literally making me feel sick to my stomach.
it's so much
I'm not a
butter.
fan
I
of
was-
butter or mayo or anything like that, so I was just like,
I was about to
We get
write,
it, Jordan. You're cut.
Yeah.
It's fine.
I was about to write down that is way too much butter, and then he totally redeemed himself.
yeah, with the corn, which is fine.
It took off most of the butter.
It did, but that's still.
And you simultaneously
I don't butter my corn either, though. So I'm
I
just
don't
like,
eat corn because it gets.
oh, I love corn.
It gets
I
in your
love
teeth.
corn. Corn's
And
so
the
good.
band and the
Yeah,
fruit.
I prefer my corn with a backwards R.
Yes, and a K.
We all know you like the rose.
Yeah.
Corn rose.
Hear that? That's crickets. So David's the only guy in the world, I guess, that knows how to hack, and he casually jokes about robbing a bank
He
when
does.
he's showing her. Which I'm
Right.
like, okay, you need to
And
be a
didn't
little
he
worried.
like steal like plane tickets? Like he,
Well,
like,
yeah, he made a reservation. He
Yeah,
didn't
right.
get
Okay,
tickets. He made a
okay.
reservation,
That's right.
which I guess is him saying that means we still have to pay for the tickets when we get there. We
Right,
just
but he got 'em.
reserved a spot.
Okay, so he's not that bad.
So he's not that bad, I guess. So David thinks he's hacking a computer gaming company, but actually hacks the Whopper and starts a war game. We meet some stereotypical computer geeks that we were talking about, and they help him realize that David, like what's going on. So David now knows it's a military computer. So he's aware that he's hacked a military computer and then asked to play a game. And some of the games are called things like Global Nuclear Holocaust and Bioweapon Mass Destruction.
Yes.
Yet he still wants to play these
He's like,
games.
yeah, I'm in.
So I'm like, okay, you may be smart, but you're dumb.
But like, you know how many students play that stupid game Pandemic, where you just like create a virus to murder everybody?
But you know you're
What?
not you're not hacking into a military computer
Do you,
to do
though?
it. Yeah, because it used to be on my freaking flip phone from Sprint in 2006.
It's your fault. You
I did
created
it.
AIDS.
Yeah, I
Way to
did.
go, Jordan.
I did.
Cold War was
That's mine.
Jordan's
I
fault.
brought measles back.
Yeah.
I'm
Oh,
bringing
man.
measles back. Yeah.
Yeah.
You should leave
Those
him
little boys are dying really young. Yeah.
You could have said.
Okay,
you could have
Anakin.
said my immune system don't know how to hack.
yeah,
Okay,
darn.
Anakin.
Yeah.
That's good. That's good. I like where we're going with this, and I don't like where we're going with this all at the same time.
Yeah.
So, yeah. So David plays the game, and the military's freaking out because they think it's real. Okay, so this happens. David gets arrested because they are able to trace it, and he's kind of freaking out for a little bit, and then Jennifer's just like, don't freak out. You're fine. He's like,
fine.
yeah, I'm fine. And then
I'm
he gets
gonna
arrested.
tell my girlfriend.
Yeah,
No.
and then he gets arrested. Now
Also,
here, yeah, go for it.
We have to talk about the most great thing about the time that this movie came out was when she's running, no bras in that time. Just,
Yeah,
it was
well,
a glorious time to be alive.
How old was she? Hopefully she was older than 18. Otherwise, that'd be a really bad thing to make, Krager. Although I will tell you this, I do have an infinity. I have a soft spot for 80s workout clothing.
Oh, I was just about to talk about leg warmers and
Yes,
big,
I
tall,
think we should bring them
high-waisted-
back.
Yeah, I
like
agree.
leggings are great and everything. Like they're comfortable. They're great
Yeah.
for guys and girls for
I agree.
working out.
Yeah.
But they just don't look. I think that 1980s aerobic wear.
Yeah, give me my
looks
camel toe
amazing.
leotard.
Yes. Yes, and you always know whether a movie is rated PG or R because if it's R, they don't wear any leggings under the
Yeah.
leotard, so it's like you're like literally millimeters from vagina popping out.
Yeah.
And if it's a PG movie, they're wearing leggings with the leotard, so there's no room for anything to kind of fall out of the folds
it's
there.
like that one movie with John Travolta and
Saturday Night Fever?
Grease.
Grease?
No, I think it's that one. I'm not sure. I've never seen it. I just know a scene where it's the
Is it where he's like, I could tell by the way I use my walk. He's
No.
walking down the street. That's Saturday Night Fever.
it's like
Is it the one where he said greaser in Grease?
Is it Punisher?
no God. It's
Is it the one where he says Royale with cheese?
Battlefield Earth,
the
right?
mom
Yeah.
Freaky Friday. What's her name?
Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah,
Jamie Lee Curtis. They're two in it. Like she's like the teacher, and he's in that class, and they're all like it's like in the 80s, and they're doing that workout scene.
Potion Love number 9. No, I don't know.
Anyway, there's this like weird, creepy scene where like everyone they're in a huge like room, like doing like the 80s aerobic stuff, and she's a teacher, and they're all doing like pelvic thrust, and like their eye.
Yeah, that's exercising. You
It
don't
was
go to the
weird.
gym and just pelvic thrust? That's all I do.
That's what I do.
Yeah. And look at how good I look. So
just go on your Instagram.
yeah. Check me out at BSN Craft Beer. So where are we? I lost my spot. Okay, so David gets arrested, and this scene shook me to my core. Literally gave me the heebie-jeebies, made me feel gross. The scene where the guy hands his gum to the girl, and then she just pops it in her mouth. What's the point of that scene?
No,
I
disgusting.
literally could not wrap my brain around it and thought about it all night, and I didn't get any sleep last
I thought
night.
about it all day at school today.
Yeah.
All it shows is they're together. That
ew,
was
no,
their way
ew.
to show.
Ew,
they're
they're
in a
gross.
relationship.
They need to
I would never
die.
do that with my wife. I would.
You make
I
out
would,
with your wife?
Totally. But the gum
That's the
thing,
exact
the
same
gum
thing.
thing.
No, it's just layered with
exact-
spit
yeah,
and
because-
mouth stuff and
because
just
now
mashed
all
into that gum, and it's in there.
All that bacteria in your mouth is now just like
It's
inside.
encapsulated in a piece of gum. Don't look at me and chew your gum
Yeah.
that way, Krager. I know what you're saying.
Okay,
No,
so anyway.
so you tell me you've never made out with someone and like accidentally the gum swaps?
No, because I don't chew gum while I'm making
I've never
out.
made out with gum in my mouth.
I
I'm not a
realize
heathen.
I take the gum out of my mouth if I'm
Yeah.
going to make out with
Yeah.
someone.
Okay.
Okay, anyway. So they think
I just
David-
mostly just hawk fat loogies in
yeah,
my mouth down their throat.
Yeah, yeah. I try and like breathe warm air while I'm making out with them.
Ladies,
Yeah.
single.
Mouth
They love
wide
that.
open.
They
wide
love
open.
that.
Just all tongue.
That's how I got my wife.
Yeah.
I'm pretty much like the face hugger in Alien.
Yeah. If I'm not licking your uvula,
would make them throw up.
Not if it's a right kind of person.
That's how you weed out the ones you don't want.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm done. Let's
Yeah.
keep going.
Let's move on to the
my
movie.
dad is non-existent as my gag reflex.
Okay, so they think. Oh, Cam's leaving because he can't handle what's going on right now. I need a handheld camera just for the moments when Cam has to walk off of screen, so I can still get him on it. Yeah, it just follows him. It's the Cam.
Oh no.
Okay, so they think David is a Soviet spy because all these things fall in conveniently. It's kind of like in Yes Man, where they're like, "You're a terrorist," because all these things just conveniently line him
Right.
up in
No
place.
collusion.
Yep.
No collusion.
So David asks the computer, "Is this a game or is it real?" Because he's starting to freak out, and it gives an answer. What's the difference? And that's actually terrifying.
I do like that.
Yeah.
That was a part I really liked about his interaction with the computer, because that was a little philosophical.
Yeah.
It was a little different. You got to think about it. It was nice. You're playing this game where you're murdering people. It's the same thing that, like, when I teach my film students in class, it's like, hey, why do we love when the good guy is murdering people?
Yeah.
Like, we love it. But those people got kids, man. Like, their lives are destroyed forever. But like, if our good guy gets shot, we're destroyed.
Yeah.
But it's still death and destruction, regardless if it's like the Soviet Union versus the U.S. of A. These colors don't run. Bleed America. I don't know what else I'm going to say.
Have you guys? I'll move on. I'll move on to.
Don't run because we have diabetes.
It's true. We can't run.
I'm going to move on to a completely different topic. Have you guys heard of the video game Soma?
I know that that's a sleeping medication.
Yes, so it's a video game as well, and it deals pretty much with artificial intelligence and whether, like, what creates sentience. Like pretty much, if your memories were pulled from your brain and put into a robot body, would you still be considered a human, a person? Would you be considered?
That's really interesting.
So it deals with that, and I feel like this kind of deals with that because it's like
that same tier.
it's like the artificial intelligence, and it's kind of like, well, what's a real life, what's not, what's proper, all that kind of stuff.
That kind of like, I was listening actually to the Spitballers podcast.
Yeah,
and
which is really good, actually. I'm glad you turned me on to that. Yeah,
Spitballers
Spitballers
podcast.
podcast is really good, and we're gonna rip off your format with a new show coming out.
Yeah, it's all my
Yeah.
But they were
Called
actually
TickleTaint.com. Featuring Krager.
Every day.
I'm using
With a feather.
I'm using a taint double.
Once in a while, he'll dress up as a French maid and use a duster.
Yeah. Ooh, fancy.
Yeah. What were we gonna say, Krager?
They actually, one of the things they talked about was like, at what point do you stop becoming human? Do you become a cyborg?
I listened to that one, and they were saying one of them was saying like, oh, it's when you no longer eat, like when you no longer need the ability to be sustained by anything other than your like robotics and stuff.
I know, but then they also brought up a really good point. Like, what if you have a full robot body, but your brain is still in there? So it's like your human brain.
Yeah,
like controlling
I know
everything.
it's a weird thing to think about.
And then they diverge to like, well, if you just have anything in you, but it has to be also like, you know, if you have like some like, you know, a little like small like surgery, you have like plates, but like you're only a true cyborg if you know you got some like little weapon that can pop out, you know, like one little baby missile, you know,
Like an alteration that has robotics in it that can do something, but it has to be weaponry, because I'm sure there's plenty of like cyborg accountants.
Yeah. Although, you know what my one request would be? You like how I said yes emphatically?
You're like, yeah.
Yeah, that's a thing. If I had to have like an amputation, or like if I had to have some type of surgery or something, my one request would be, I do want a weapon, but I want it to be a little Nerf bullet. So literally could like pop out and just be like, boop.
That's cute. That's adorable.
Yeah. So someone's like bumming me out, I just pop it out and like, boop, suction cup on the forehead.
That's also what he does in the bedroom.
Yeah.
Boop, suction cup on the forehead.
That's my suction cup.
Sorry, Madison.
So let's keep moving along with this movie because we're dying here. So David is arrested. They think he's a Soviet spy. He pulls a MacGyver and escapes being locked up. He sneaks out with a tour group at NORAD because they brought him to NORAD for some reason.
By the way, hashtag me too with that little lady outside the...
Oh my God. I wanted to throw up and yell at my TV at the same time.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God. And she even said, he was like, oh, so you want me to leave? She's like, yes. And he's like, and he just keeps going.
Yeah, that was a little hard to watch. It was like too much.
But it was so real.
You know what was
Gillette.
You know what's something that I didn't think of is NORAD is a joint Canadian-American group.
Yeah.
Where were the Canadians in there?
No, they were just...
They don't involve themselves in war, eh?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. I was
They
just
were
like, there's
drinking
no
milk out of
Canadian.
bags.
Like, everyone's like, America, and that was it, pretty much. I'd be like, shouldn't someone in that war room be worried about Canada, too? Because there should be some Canadians in there. So, yeah, that was weird.
The Canadians were too polite. They just kept on going like, oh, excuse me. And then like no one was listening.
Well, you know what really, like, frustrated me too is at this scene, we have this long scene where it shows the Whopper like 360 around, right?
Yeah.
And then it comes into this screen on the side and zooms in, and it says game time remaining so many hours. I'm like, no one notices this giant screen on the side of this computer saying game time remaining. Like,
oh my
seriously?
God. Yeah, I was just like, what the hell is going on here?
Frustrating, super frustrating. So the war room continues playing this game without knowing it's a game as David leaves. You were going to say something, Craig?
Oh, yeah. Sheedy totally had a lady boner for Falcon. Remember when they're watching the
Oh,
video?
yeah, when they're watching, she's like, wow, he's amazing looking. Like, that's a weird way to say he's hot. He's amazing looking.
With like his like weird, like long stringy hair and his long ass face.
It was kind of weird. I didn't like that. So David escapes. He calls up Jennifer, goes, hey, I need a ticket to Oregon because I think that Falcon's still alive. And then she meets him there, so they go on a little adventure together.
What high schooler has enough money for 2 plane tickets? And her parents was like,
dude, it was the 80s. It cost 14 cents.
Yeah, who knows?
It clearly said when he hacked and like
she probably had some money stowed away in like a little
hot girl fund.
No, like a Little House on the Prairie tin can in her bedroom or something.
That was a good reference. I didn't expect that.
Yeah,
that's hashtag Laura Ingalls.
I was gonna say from the subscribers on her, Instagram, all the people send money.
Oh, she's an influencer.
Oh, she probably is an influencer. Yeah, or she crowdfunded it, maybe.
Probably.
Yeah. So they fly to Oregon, and they find out that Falcon is still alive. He
has a sweet pterodactyl airplane.
So there's literally this scene where they're just filming like what you think is a bird, but I'm sitting there, I go, that looks awfully lot like a pterodactyl.
Yeah.
And so I'm sitting here, I'm like, why do they keep? And it's literally like not just a scene; it's like 3 minutes of a scene.
Let's backtrack. It's a pterosaur.
Yes.
Let's
okay.
be accurate.
Correct. Dinosaur Dan over here.
He prefers Danny.
So you find out it's like a radio-controlled pterosaur.
Like airplane thing.
Yeah,
Pterosaur-dactyl
that Falcon's playing with, and Falcon is obsessed with dinosaurs now.
Yeah, he's a paleontologist
reason, which kind of makes sense because when they kind of tell Falcon what's going on and hey, we need to go stop this computer, he goes, well, just like the dinosaurs had their chance, they rule the world, and nature pretty much selected to let them die, and then we, as like a smaller species, evolved into what we are. It's our time to be eradicated, and maybe what did he say? Like the frogs will be next or something.
The bees.
The bees. He said maybe the bees will be next.
I also dug that like he just has this like super dope 16mm projector right there, and he
ready to go.
And he puts it on, and he turns it on, and it's just claymation dinosaurs.
Yeah. That's great.
I will say the one filmography thing that I was really into is while he's going into this whole like we're all gonna die and it's okay. It's got like the fiery scenes from that whatever movie in the background.
Yeah, that's
on
pretty
his
cool.
face.
Yeah.
And, like, it's in the background.
Yeah, they look good.
Like,
they projected onto him.
Cinematography.
That one I was all like, as someone who doesn't know much about cinematography, I appreciate that.
Shout out Mike and George Kuchar, the brothers that invented that entire thing, projecting onto people and shooting.
Oh, nice. Making it look cool like that.
The
Cooch
brothers.
So by now we're at DEF CON 2, which another fallacy is that the general would be able to change DEF CON. Only the president can do that. So that isn't true at all. Yeah. So here we are. I like this moment where David has a moment of like an epiphany of ignorance is bliss, where he goes, I wish I was the other people. I wish I was everyone out there that didn't know the end of the world is coming and there's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah.
Which is very, very deep, I feel.
That's another philosophical point that the movie
and this was a specific scene written for this movie to have the like, I wish I could learn to swim. Like I never, when you know the end is nigh, you realize what you didn't do in life.
Yeah.
And it's the whole myth or ethos of living your life like every day is your last day.
Yeah, which is nice.
Yeah.
Hashtag YOLO.
Yeah. Hashtag YOLO. Way to ruin that, Gregor.
Carpepi dime.
What? It took me a sec to realize. Carpe diem. Carpepe dime.
Hashtag Carpepe dime.
I like that a lot. Yeah. So in this moment, David and Jennifer realized it's going to be the end of the world, nothing they can do about it. So they were going to get it on. They were
going to smash.
They were going to get on until a helicopter shows up and they think, oh no, they're getting arrested again. But it's actually Falcon who had to change.
Also, has anyone else here been cockblocked by a helicopter?
Nope.
Same. Yeah, me neither.
Just want to make sure we're all in good company.
We're about to get it on. It's a random helicopter flies over. I'm not in the
damn it.
anymore.
Yeah. I know a friend who cockblocked himself by the two towers being on TV.
Oh.
He was about to get it on, then the two towers came on. And he said, "Screw that! Battle of Helm's Deep is way better than sex." I know who you know who it is.
I thought you meant 9/11.
I did too.
Oh.
I know the story.
I said the two towers as in the Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
Sorry,
got you. No,
Sorry.
I'm on the same page.
My brain totally connected, and I did not realize that
I
association
know the
was
story
there.
with person.
Yeah, it's
Not this Kevin, different. But I know. So my mind immediately went to like boning and then like turn on the TV and like.
And I was thinking, I was like, I was in 7th grade.
Yeah, sorry, that was a little insensitive on my part. I probably should have explained that a little more. Lord of the Rings, the Two Towers. Yes, that happened. So anyway, back to this movie.
Yeah.
Which,
Okay.
WarGames.
Drove me crazy. So he can chase them in a helicopter and doesn't use his speaker till he lands.
Yeah, it's true.
Like-
yeah, there's this whole big long chase scene, and it's like, what the heck? And then I had a big problem with this because they go to NORAD, and we see them. The next we see them is they're driving in a Jeep. Who's this guy driving in the Jeep? Why is he okay with driving them to NORAD? Like, I didn't get what this scene was supposed to tell us.
Then they crash it through a fence with no seatbelts and flip the Jeep, and everyone's
Which
like,
actually,
"We're
the
good."
Jeep wasn't supposed to be flipped. That happened by accident, and they kept it in the movie.
Well, it looked like it.
That's why you see the guy, he like braces himself, the driver, and like grabs Ali Sheedy and like makes sure she gets out okay. It's because that wasn't supposed to happen.
So they
that's
so that happened with the
gnarly.
actors and actresses in that vehicle, and there's no seatbelts.
Yeah.
God, I love the 80s.
Yeah, right? Great stuff. So I don't know who this guy is. I don't know why they decided to loop this scene about 3 times. Like, it literally, them
was way
like
too
drifting, going into the forest.
Yeah.
Drifting, going into the forest.
Yeah.
Like, what do we, and then close up of them holding on, drifting. Like, no, we don't
That's
need
actually
this.
where Fast and Furious was originated.
No, this was bad. This is what I'm talking about, where there's so many scenes they could have just cut out or made shorter, and it would have been a lot better.
This is Crystal Palace. We're closing up the mountain. You'll have to hurry. After the gates are closed, nobody gets in or out.
Initiate internal power. Generators on and functioning. External power disconnected. Seal off ventilation shafts. Shaft lock sealed.
The gate's closed. Oh, Jesus.
So Falcon goes in and brings up a good point about this. He goes, this was an unprovoked attack from Russia. Don't you feel like that's more a simulation than reality?
Right, and all the missiles at the same time.
Yeah. So they start thinking like, okay, this guy may be onto something. So they decide with a minute left to impact that, you know what, we're going to believe him, and we're just going to hope that this impact is a simulation.
Yeah, so they call up all of the people in command of all those air bases.
That are going to be
and
impacted
are like,
first.
stay on the line with us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, they say stay on the line. They explain what's going on, and yet, like, I don't know if the people on the phone were just like messing with them or what, but they're like, impact, are you guys there? And they waited like 10 seconds to be like, oh, we're still here. It's like, you know.
Yeah, and then like that super hick like little
Yeah,
boy
like,
was just like, hey, I'm still here.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, it was so dumb. So they're all happy. They're like, oh, yes. So the Whopper decides, okay, he doesn't want to lose, so he takes matters into his own hands. Or microchips. What would be his appendage?
Hands.
Hands? He has a hand?
It's a little BB-8, you know, flamethrower thumb.
Yeah. Okay, I like that.
Okay.
I like that. Did you know that there was actually a person inside Whopper that would type into an Apple II computer to make what was on the screen type out?
Was it Kenny Baker?
I hope so. That
Yeah,
would
me
be
too.
amazing. That would be so funny. So the Whopper, only $1.29 at your local Burger King.
Still tastes like nasty crap.
Wreck My Podcast brought to you by Burger King.
Hit me up, King. So the Whopper decides that it's going to figure out the codes to nuclear launch and launch for real. Since he couldn't simulate to scare the people to do it on their own volition, he's just going to do it. So this is where Falcon pretty much is like, he never learned to lose. He never learned futility, that sometimes you just can't win a thing. So
and that sometimes it's nice to concede.
Yes, so this is where they play tic-tac-toe.
And also, that whole scene is like Falcon clearly knows what he needs to do, and he's just sitting back like, "Oh, I'm gonna let him figure it out."
Yeah,
on his own.
it was like
just
it was like a
little,
teaching moment. He's like, I'm gonna let 59 million people die. As
it was a teaching moment, but it was also this part where he was just like so brain masturbating himself. Like he was like, I created this monster, and I'm gonna let it suck me dry.
Yeah, pretty much.
We're gonna live, or we're gonna die like I want to anyway.
Yeah. So
But
anyway,
he's so emo.
they make the computer play tic-tac-toe against itself, so it learns futility and that there's no way to win. So the Whopper plays out all the scenarios of the nuclear destruction and realizes it comes to the same conclusion: no one wins in any scenario.
Yeah.
So he says, like, sometimes the best thing to do, the only winning move is not to play at all.
Right.
Which is cool, but let's remember what the whole point of Skynet was, is that when it went through these scenarios, it realized that the real threat was humanity and decided to eradicate it.
Yeah.
So if you have a computer going through scenarios of what the real threat is here, you don't want that going on. That's never a good
It's
outcome.
true. Yeah, it's terrible.
Yeah, so this is what bugged me the most at the end of this movie, is that it's like, oh, you want to play chess, whatever. It's like, I'm not going to blow up the world. And everyone's super happy. Yes, they're shaking hands with David. They're all hugging. They're happy. Did everyone forget that David started this whole thing? Like, this whole thing is his fault. No one's mad at him. Everyone's happy he saved the world. I'm like, he wouldn't have had to save the world if he wasn't just a snot-nosed teenager thinking he could do whatever he wanted.
Yeah. By the way, he admitted to all his like illegal things he's doing in his house. He is going to jail.
Oh, yeah.
Forever.
He robbed a bank. Like, I don't know if he actually did, but allegedly.
Well, I mean, like I was gonna write down like, okay, how is he doing all this? Like on the phone, what is his phone bill? And like he says like, oh, I have ways around that. I'm like, well, there you go. You're going to jail that way.
Yeah, fraud. It's called fraud.
Yeah.
And because of that, they did pass a bill. I'll get to it. Okay.
Frog? It's called frog?
Frog. That's a burp. That's a frog burp.
Burp.
So Madison pointed out an ADR goof on the moped that was actually really funny near the beginning of the movie when they hop on the moped and they're driving.
Yeah.
She like, Ali Sheedy yells something, but her mouth doesn't move at all.
Amazing. I didn't notice that.
ADR is great.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the list of countries in the game on the Whopper, a bunch of them are misspelled. And I'm like, do we really want to entrust the security of our nation to a computer that misspells countries?
Like Kenya is just like K-E-Y-N-A.
Argentina was Argentina.
Oh, man, I love Argentina.
I also noticed back on that motorcycle scene, I'm all like, that is like Cam's dream. Like right there.
Yeah, right on the back of Ali Sheedy.
Of a motorcycle.
Yeah.
Ali Sheedy. Oh, man. Yeah.
There you go. So you guys want to talk about some fun facts about this movie?
Lay it on me, brother.
So did you know there's a sequel that came out in 2008 called WarGames Dead Code?
I thought you were going to say Warhorse.
No, I wish. That'd be great.
Yeah.
So there's a sequel out there. Because this was one of the first representations of the internet in a movie, people were actually freaked out by this because they thought like all these things could actually happen and everything. Where some of these things could happen, but there's a lot they didn't tell you about. Like there's a lot of things that it couldn't actually happen. So people were a little freaked out about that. WarGames had a video game actually that was released where you could play.
Why?
No.
Why?
But you could play the global thermonuclear war, and it was on ColecoVision and then ported to Atari and Commodore 64. So you could play the actual game that he was playing in the game.
You could play the actual game that you were told to not ever play that game.
Right? It's like Slender Man in video game form.
That's terrible. That's stupid.
So the NORAD set was the most expensive production set ever made up to that point at $1 million in a movie. And
that's a lot.
It was made with no NORAD reference at all. Like they weren't allowed to go into NORAD and see anything, so they had to just make it from what they thought. And when they were done with the movie and they actually went and saw NORAD, they were like, wow, our set was 10 times more intricate than what NORAD actually looks like. Yeah. So if you're thinking like government's actually this big, cool looking thing, not really. It's like some computer terminals and
they didn't
like
take
a tiny room.
actual NORAD.
No. They said no to NORAD.
Yeah, our government just serves McDonald's on silver platters.
Yeah. Well, if you're from, okay. So this movie inspired Congress to create and update the Computer Fraud and Abuse Act of 1984.
So you can't abuse computers anymore?
You can't. It's the hacking stuff. They were scared about the hacking.
People just hitting computers left and right.
Yeah, it was non-consensual computer stuff. Representative Dan Glickman, if you want to know, he was a Democrat from Kansas. He opened the proceedings by saying, we are going to show about 4 minutes from the movie WarGames, which outlines the problem fairly clearly. So literally in Congress, they played WarGames.
Me, if I was as a congressman.
Yeah. A House committee report solemnly intoned, WarGames showed a realistic representation of the automatic dialing and access capabilities of a personal computer. Which was originally called demon dialing, and then I think it was called war dialing later.
After that, probably?
Yeah, I think it was after that movie and everything. So although depicted Seattle. I already said this. David's house was in Los Angeles. The NORAD entrance tunnel that we were talking about is actually in Griffith Park, close to us.
Yeah.
It's the same tunnel they use in Who Framed Roger Rabbit when they go in and out of Toontown.
Awesome.
Yeah. It's also in Back to the Future 2, I read, but I don't know what part because I don't remember
Obviously, the tunnel scene where he's on the hoverboard being chased by Biff.
Where's the tunnels? No, Back to the Future 2. Wait, you're right. You're right.
Yeah.
You're right. You're right. Okay, you're right. No, but that tunnel looks like it's up on a road somewhere. The tunnel we're talking about is like in the park, I think.
When they're filming inside the tunnel, you don't see where they are.
You're right. Maybe. Man, movie magic. Movie magic.
It's actually tunnel magic.
Yeah. The Whopper computer room scenes were filmed in Culver City, so that's close to us too. A lot of this movie was filmed in like around in Southern California and stuff. This is the first cinematic reference to a firewall. They mentioned a firewall, and no one knew what a firewall was. Now we throw that term around like it's nothing, you know.
Yeah. Build that firewall.
Build that firewall. Mexico is going to pay for that firewall.
Pay for that firewall.
That 7-Eleven where he's arrested is actually up in Big Bear and still exists to this day.
I was gonna say.
Yeah, it's up there.
That looks just like. Oh.
Yeah.
Well, now you're going to go.
So
I'm already going on Sunday, actually.
Just because you saw this.
Yeah, now he's going.
Not snowboarding at all.
Even though John Badham was the director, they had a director for 12 days before he came in. Martin Brest. He started directing the film, but was fired after there was some discrepancies between. Like he wanted to film it very
sexual harassment.
Are you telling me that MGM was more of a butt guy?
Yeah, they were like you're. They told Martin. They said Martin, you're not making the breast movie that you could make. So so we're gonna get someone else.
High quality content. I love.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Ready Player One. Have you guys read the book or seen the movie at all?
Saw the movie. No.
Okay.
No.
So in the book, he's required to regurgitate every line that David says from WarGames. Is like one of the things that he has to do in the book. So that's there. When McKittrick is showing David around the war room, David asks him about working. So this is interesting here. I want to preface this. They kind of tell you in the movie early on that Falcon isn't dead before you find out Falcon isn't dead. So when McKittrick is showing David around the war room, David asks him about working with Professor Falcon. David says, he must have been pretty amazing, huh? Past tense. But McKittrick replies in the present tense, well, he's a brilliant man, a little flaky, revealing, if you catch it, that Falcon is not dead. Because McKittrick knows that Falcon isn't dead. He's just presumed dead. So they actually throw that little... I don't know if they did it on purpose or if that was like a goof, but that's kind of cool.
It was a very weak showing.
Yeah, it's weak foreshadowing, but that sounds like something that a writer would be like, oh, isn't this part great?
And John Wood, who played Falcon, also did the voice of the Machine.
Oh.
But he read the lines backwards because the director wanted them to be enunciated individually like a computer would, and the only way to do it without your proper cadence would be to read it backwards, where you have to actually think about each word. So like if I read this sentence, we are on Instagram and Twitter at Wreck My Podcast. If I had to read that backwards, I would be podcast my Wreck Twitter and Instagram on our we. Like I would have to enunciate a little bit more to make sure that
I thought you meant actually read it if I were to say wreck my podcast backwards, I would say
to Sakhatab.
I would say sacked up I'm Carol. Reverse that.
Yeah,
that is
in post. Reverse that in post.
Yeah, no, not that cool.
It'll go.
Are you sure if we were supposed to say worship the devil?
Yeah, you got me.
I got you, Cam. You're Led Zeppelin.
Yeah, all of them together.
All of Led and all of Zeppelin.
Mostly the Zeppelin.
So that's WarGames. It's a little. It was a fun movie, but it's not a great movie.
Anytime they said WarGames, it made me think of Old Greg singing Love Games.
Wait, Old Greg, do you ever drink Baileys from a shoe?
Yeah.
Oh, I love Old Greg.
I don't know Old Greg.
Oh,
what's
Old Greg?
Love
games with me.
Is this something I should be privy to?
Yeah.
I would put it on par with Salad Fingers.
Yeah. It's up there.
Okay. So it's one of those old YouTube things.
Ooh. Love it. It was from the British TV show The Mighty Boosh, but it went viral because it was really weird and great.
Perhaps now in this light with you and the tutu and the water playing off your seaweed, maybe I could love you. Maybe I was lying, because when you do love someone, sometimes you say you don't because you're playing hard to get, playing a game. Games? Yeah, I was just playing a game with you.
Love games?
That's right, love games, Greg.
Love games?
Do you love me? Are you playing your love games with me? I just wanna know what to do, cause I need your love a lot. Come on now, do you love me? Are you playing your love games with me? I just wanna know what to do, cause I need your love a lot. Come on now.
Moving too fast, this isn't a race. Back off and lower the pace now. Slow it down and give me some space. Moving too fast, this isn't a race.
Do you love me? Are you playing your love games with me? I just wanna know what to do, cause I need your love a lot. Come on now.
Moving too fast, this isn't a race. Back off and lower the pace now. Slow it down and give me some space. Moving too fast, this isn't a race.
I'm on Greg.
I know I think you said.
Mama, don't make me beg now, cause I'm not your regular guy. Don't be shy, do you love me?
Interesting.
I love
Well, yeah, I mean, it's cool that this movie was the first reference to the internet, and you know what's on the internet is wreckmypodcast.com.
Oh, it is.
And you know
Yeah.
what's on wreckmypodcast.com is a little link to Amazon that you can click, and when you click that link,
It makes you fight Russia.
it makes you fight Russia, but then after you're done with that, and you're the last person on Earth, it takes you to Amazon,
Nice.
the regular website,
Nice.
and anything you buy on there will give it a little bit of money to us.
Wait, hang on. Does it cost anything extra?
It costs nothing extra
What
to you.
a deal. What a nice way for
So-
you to just program that into your search bar.
Yeah, so why not bookmark our website? Just click that link anytime you want to buy something and help us out. You don't pay anything to us. We make a little bit of money, and I can maybe hire a real host.
Yeah, that'd be nice.
So yeah, that's great. We're also on Instagram. I'm doing plugs now if people didn't realize this by now. We're at the end of the episode. We're at the end of the hour. So
that's good.
I'm like a psychologist. I'm very much like your hour's up. Time to get out.
See ya.
Or pay me more money. So we're on Instagram and Twitter at WreckMyPodcast. You can shoot us an email at wreckmypodcast@gmail.com. We're on all major podcasting apps as well as YouTube.
Yeah, we
Go
are.
check that out because we're funny people.
You can go see our new setup. Which is
Yeah,
pretty cool.
see our new setup with our logo just looming behind me.
And you can see how much my tall ass hunches over to talk into a microphone.
That's true. Although you could raise up your or scoot down your chair.
Yeah, but then I'm not taller than all of you.
That's true. There you go.
Yeah, this is okay.
Boom. There you go. Look at that. Fancy new chairs we have here as well on our new set. We have one thing. I would love for people to rate and review our podcast.
Please.
On iTunes. That would be great. We haven't gotten one in a really long time. I would love to have that. I just checked and I'm like, oh, maybe I've missed it, but I haven't missed it. That would really make me happy. And maybe I'll send you a little fun gift if you do it. If you go review 1 star, 5 star, 3 bacon emojis, whatever you want.
Yeah, 3 bacon emojis would be nice.
Yeah. Just send me that on Instagram at wreckmypodcast.com. I'll send you a little bit of a fun thing. I won't tell you what that fun thing is, but I'm going to send it to you. I have a few things at my house I can send out.
Poop in a bag.
Yeah, poop in a bag, a picture of me naked, and...
Oh, dibs. I'm writing a review right now.
So yeah, go do that. But we're also, if you're like, you know what, I want to support these guys, but I really want to pay something out of pocket, actually.
Oh, that's generous.
Yeah,
That's nice.
Yeah, we have something where you can do that. You can go to our Patreon, patreon.com/wreckmypodcast. We have reward tiers where you get stuff back. You can ask us questions.
Whoa.
You can tell us what topic we have to do.
I like that.
You can get a cool little art thing that Cam will draw you for whatever pop culture thing you're into.
I'm a professional artist.
Yes, he is. He's a professional artist, and he's on this podcast as well.
He's why I'm a professional.
And if you go for the max subscription of $100 a month, Jordan will maybe send you like a nipple.
Yeah, I will.
What, like someone else's nipple?
No, my nipple.
Oh,
I have
nice.
extras.
Oh, that's good.
He actually got them, like die casted, and so like he has like a bunch of rubber nipples.
I will tell you
out.
this: if you do $150, I should create a $150 Patreon tier where I do a chocolate imprint of my butt, where you do like an imprint of your butt and you make little chocolates out of it.
Yeah,
I'll do that. No, I actually don't want to.
All our butt. We could do it on my butt. I'd do that of my butt for sure. Yeah,
every butt.
Yeah, I'll totally do that.
So
if you
yeah,
give us $150, we'll make little miniature cam butts you can put in your mouth.
There you go. So that's
suck on that.
That's the Patreon. So go support that. We do have 2 patrons right now.
We do.
We have Ryan.
I know him.
Yeah, you work for him.
I do.
You do a lot of things, Cam. You're into a lot of things. Yeah. And you said doo-doo. Go check out Ryan's podcast. He's got his own called Trivia with Buds.
Yeah.
And then my friend Cole and your friend Cole and our friend Cole of Cole Phen Enterprises. He is a patron as well. I'm just going to make this a thing. Like
it is.
Yeah. Cole Phen Enterprises. So where am I? Thank you to Ben from Petrified Gumbo Music.
Such a cool intro.
Yeah, that dude, he made an intro for our shows, and he's really cool. It's really good. If you need any composition work done, go to his website, petrifiedgumbomusic.com. Tell him what you need. He'll get it to you. Great guy. And my tagline for him is, weird name, but amazing music.
Yeah, I totally agree.
Yeah. We have main episodes come out every Wednesday. We have Mondays, Stoked on This, where we talk about, is there an echo in here? Echo. You're an idiot. What is it? I'm an idiot. You're an idiot. That's my favorite part of the Grinch movie.
Yeah, that's a good one.
So on Monday, Stoked on This. We used to do Wreck My Internet every now and then, but I think we're going to do a new show on Fridays. We haven't officially named it yet. I told Cam some of the name ideas I have. So it's pretty much us that's just we're going to do like Would You Rather, random questions. Pretty much just us bantering the whole time.
Also, though, if you want to message Jordan on the Instagram or become a Patreon subscriber, maybe you could give us ideas for Would You Rathers.
Yeah.
You know, it's the situation room.
Any question you want us to talk about.
Yeah.
But here's some name suggestions I gave Cam, and tell me what you think. So I told him my first one, my favorite one, is because I love the name Between Two Ferns because it's just so random. That was a burp break.
Frog burp.
But yeah, frog burp. Between Two Ferns, I want to do, because we're sitting at a round table now, a round table.
That's pretty good.
I thought that's good.
That's good.
I thought another one we could do is like instead of Q&A, do P's and Q's for like pints and quarts, and then we'd all be drinking beer while we're doing it every time. So we'd like highlight the beer and stuff too. What did I else say? Jibber jabber.
You said jibber jabber.
Rando facto.
Rando facto.
Yeah, I was just coming up with some random ones.
Tickletank.com.
Tickletank.com.
Or the crundle.
The crundle.
I found this out. That is another word for the gooch or the taint.
Yeah, the gooch, taint, the crundle, the fleshy front.
I don't understand why anyone would ever want to use that word. It is.
No, I love the crundle. Sounds amazing.
Are you kidding me?
It sounds like something. Get this, Harry Potter and the Secret Crundle.
Oh my god!
That's gonna be a soundbite. That's a soundbite right there.
Oh my.
See, this is why the new show idea is going to be amazing, because it's literally, we have no topic. It's just us talking about stuff.
Shout out to Kyle on the Harry Potter and the Mysterious Empty Bowl.
So funny. Anyway, I think I'm done with my plugs. So thank you guys for being my guests.
That's another
this
thing you
week.
get in the Patreon, his butt plugs.
Yeah, my butt plugs.
And like a super close-up figure painting of his grundle. Just super zoomed in.
And he's got a cape that says Grundle Man.
Does anyone feel like if you did a super zoomed in picture of your grundle, it would just look like the surface of Mars?
more like Uranus.
Ayo, drop that mic. Anyway, thank you to my guests for being here. That was amazing. And thank you for listening or watching, because without you guys, we would just be a random group of friends talking about nothing to no one with a logo staring behind me.
Yeah, it's a good logo, though.
Yeah, it's good. All right, bye.
Bye. Love you.
Wreck My Podcast. Wreck My Podcast.
Avril Lavigne got married to the lead singer from Sum 41. I was like, this is a perfect union.
Yeah.
And then it didn't last.
Yeah.
Because she died and they cloned her.
Yeah,
I saw that, and that was
check. So get this. So I was telling Cam that this is our new setup here, and I'm going to switch some things out, but I'm going to actually use this for more than just the logo as we move on. But I have a mic stand over there that literally is like taller than me or as tall as me, and I'm going to put it behind me and bring it up and crane it over and then have this hanging down. So it's like a legit like studio radio setup for my thing.
I think that's great.
Okay. So yeah, we're doing the headphones so everyone can kind of hear again. But see, it's not as bad. That's not as bad. It's still there, like it's still, you hear it hit, but like it's not that sound. So we switch things around to kind of make it that way. So now we can hit our hand on the table. Okay, you can stop that now. Good Lord. Okay, here, give me a check real quick on.
Checking into the strip club.
Is that where you're going to be about usually?
Hold on, let me. Yeah, how about this? This is pretty good.
Yeah, because you're a little quiet.
I mean, I could act comfortably.
I think that's good right there. And then Cam, give me.
Check, checkity check. This is Cam putting my mouth on the microphone.
What's
like
funny?
Always.
Yeah, what's funny? I turn you up. Like, what's funny is when you look at the lines on the wave file, you're always way lower, but your voice is just as loud as everyone else.
Because you have a really good deep radio voice.
Yeah.
Whenever I listen to podcasts, I'm like, I need to change my voice.
I get a lot of compliments about my radio voice.
Yeah,
I also get a lot of people saying that doesn't even sound like you.
I wish I had like a Michael Rosenbaum. Like, this is Michael Rosenbaum. Hello, welcome.
I feel like that's how he just is, though. He's very deliberate and slow. He's an actor of the Shakespearean genre.
But he dressed in drag. So how much of an actor?
When did he dress in drag?
You don't remember that movie, Sorority? It's like sorority boys, sorority girls.
No, I don't remember that.
It's like such
It's sorority boys, right?
Sorority boys.
Sorority Noise, the band.
Hold on, I'll look this up. It is.
Is that a punk band?
Sorority Noise, yeah.
Sounds like it. You hear about everyone freaking out about this Bikini Kill thing going on right now?
Yes.
Yeah. Bikini Kill is like this all-girl punk band.
They're amazing.
Yeah, and I think they broke up in like late 90s.
Late 90s.
And they're getting back together for a few shows, and it's sold out in like 10 minutes, and then people are scalping tickets like crazy high.
Yeah. I would kill to see Bikini Kill.
Which, what do you expect? People are like so bent out of shape about it. I'm like, well, what do you expect? It was like, you're not the only one that's happy that Bikini Kill is getting back together. Like the scalpers know everyone wants this. Of course they're gonna do that.
Absolutely.
It's ridiculous. That's why I hate these it's so convenient now, but I kind of hate it because even for Comic-Con and stuff like that, you can't get into the freaking waiting room to even purchase it. Like, who are these people and what kind of like internet or whatever do they have that they're able to get in these things?
Yeah,
I can't.
Nothing in Santa Clarita. They're probably all on Verizon Fios.
They all live in Kansas City or something.
Wreck My Podcast brought to you by Verizon
Fios.
Yeah, it's called Sorority Boys.
Sorority Boys.
Oh yeah, it's with that dude from like Seventh Heaven.
Oh yeah, I recognize him.
Yeah, it's like they basically like are trying to get into a sorority. I don't remember what it is, but they all dress up as girls. Oh, and it's the dude from Rocket Man.
Oh yeah, I like that guy. I forget his name, but he was like in all those '90s movies.
Yeah, it's like
Elton John.
Yeah, Elton John.
No, but
Rocket Man.
It's a pretty funny movie.
Never heard of it.
Oh, it's pretty funny.
It looks like something that would be on Comedy Central every night in like 2004.
That's probably where I first saw it. But are we gonna do a stoked on this later?
Oh, we weren't because I haven't put up the one from last week. So we can do an edition if you want.
I just saw something when I was on IMDb earlier, looking up stuff about WarGames.
WarGames Dead Code.
No, Haley Joel Osment has a Sundance Film Festival movie, and Zac Efron is Ted Bundy.
Oh yeah,
I
know about that.
Yeah, I heard about that.
Supposed to be really good.
Very interesting. Yeah. Very interesting.
He's charismatic enough to do it.
He is, but I also feel like, was Ted Bundy known for being a pretty boy?
They talked
oh,
about
really?
this in
Was
the
he?
video.
I don't ever. I didn't think Ted Bundy was that good looking.
I don't think he's that good looking.
That was like.
But that was his thing, though. Why
like
people would come to him.
hot.
Yeah. Okay.
And like, oh man, he was like.
It's why
so
people would come to
charismatic.
him and come on him. Okay, we're moving on.
Come on and around his mouth.
Do you guys know that there is like a 7-Eleven chain called the Come and Go that's like in the Midwest and everything?
That sounds about
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Yeah,
okay, let's start this one up. Okay, you guys ready for this? Did you bring notes?
He did.
I told you.
Whoa, that's cool.
It's all basically like talking shit about the movie.
Yeah.
Honestly.
I just watched it because I'm not a nerd.
Cam has a good memory, unlike us.
I don't.
So here,
you can see my
this is how I'm going to start it out.
Hello, listeners. Would you like to play a nice game of chess?